Thanks to the support as a channel member, Faraday. Yeah, no worries. I'll give you a call back in a couple of minutes. Yeah. Hang on. What do you mean you've got Barcelona on the other line? Hello and welcome to part 26 of Holiday Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have a big cup game. We got a La Liga team at this stage of the Copa del Rey last year. We've got one again this year, Granada, who are bottom of La Liga, managed by Slaven Bilic and potentially beatable, which will be handy. Are they bottom? They were bottom when the draw happened. Espanyol are now bottom, so maybe they've hit good form and will now be less beatable. But either way, it should go a long way towards helping out our finances, which definitely need a little bit of a boost. If you look back to last January, February time, that's when we actually started to do a little bit of a mini financial recovery off the back of the cup game that we played in last year. Since you were last, and we're also going to play our title rival Zerez in the second match of today's episode as well. We've only played a couple of games since the last episode, one of which was winning in the first round of the cup, a nice 6-0 win against a team from the division below, and then we ground out a 1-0 win against San Fernando. So we are still looking pretty comfortable at the halfway point in the league. We've got 42 points on the board, which puts us 7 points clear at the top of the table. Kevin Carlos, 23 goals already. He's having a lovely time, and we're all having a lovely time because he's one of several players who have extended their contracts beyond the end of this season. We've still got a significant chunk of the team who are out of contract at the end of the year. A lot of these have had contracts offered, but haven't yet accepted them. We have set Sai Maggio, Angel Jimenez, Fran Tafalla. I think they're the only ones that have been set for release. And then a couple of these we're delaying decisions on because it depends what league we're in. Like Isra, Christian David, they've been with us a little while now, but they're only 2.5-star players. If we get promoted, which we should, I don't know that those boys can make the step up. Gonzalez, we weren't able to offer enough money to yet. Same with Martinez Perez. But we will offer those boys new contracts in the near future. We have offered one to Ivan Mutt, Ivan the winger, I think. Oh, apparently we haven't. We probably should. He probably needs a new contract offering to him. But we did get a new contract for Ivan Such, the centre-back that had been asking for one all year, has finally signed his first professional contract and joins Alex Boxall and what's his name? The winger, Rabiot. I was going to call him Rubio. Rabiot. Goodness me. Joins those two as homegrown players forming the core of the team. Our two central midfielders, Rabiot and Boxall, and now one of our centre-backs with Ivan Such, all came through our youth team, which is very nice to see. Those boys will forever be given new contracts for as long as we can convince them to stick around, which in the case of Alex Boxall might be not too long because he does actually want to leave because there's interest being shown in him. He's not proving to be disruptive just yet, but we need to keep an eye on that developing situation. But we've also extended the contracts of our goalkeeper, Romero, Kevin Carlos, and Ivan Luis. The two strikers have signed new deals. Ezra Carrington and Cucurella have both extended as well. Fakal was already on a long contract, so his contract now expires at the same time as a lot of these other ones. Likewise, Rabiot and Boxall are both already on long contracts and have a year longer than everyone else as it stands currently. So we're starting to get key players tied down for next season. We are committed spending wise. We've not got a lot left to do much more with for now, and we probably still need to add a couple of loans to the squad. You can see we've had a grayed out player added to the squad because we are getting pretty thin personnel wise. So we probably need to get some loans in, but that's all worries for the future because now is all about focusing on Granada. Is Rabiot natural in central? He's still not natural in central midfield. He needs to become natural in that position I'm forcing him into. So this is the team to face Granada. Sai Maggio probably feeling a little bit harshly done by that he's been set for release because he's kind of established himself in recent matches as our starting defensive midfielder. He's started there a lot lately because Alex Boxall is emerging as the central midfield playmaker alongside Rabiot. I don't think I'm going to be able to force box to Boxall to happen as much as I love the pun. But if we can have him as the playmaker with Rabiot as the Mazzala, those two, as our homegrown boys, as our two best players, just run the show. And then we just have someone who can do defending behind him, which at the moment is Maggio. My dream is still that long-term it's Christian David, but we've been training him to play as a defensive midfielder for 2 years now, and he's still unconvincing in the role. So I don't know that we're ever going to force Christian David to happen. We might have to bring somebody else in. But this is the team for Granada. Romero in goal. Our now very settled back four of Gonzalez, Joffrey, Such and Carrington. Sai Maggio at the base of the midfield. Boxall and Rabiot ahead of him. Martinez Perez on the left. Fakal on the right. Kevin Carlos up front. It's us versus La Liga. We're almost certainly going to lose. Hopefully we're not going to get utterly thrashed, because our confidence is... it's delicate at the moment. After that little run that we were in on Friday's episode, we're not fully recovered morale-wise from missing out on a few games. And that's poor from Maggio. And that's why we need to upgrade on him in that role. See, that's the one disadvantage of not having Boxall there, because he doesn't give the ball away the way Maggio did in that position. And it lead to the first goal for Granada after less than 2 minutes. This could be a long old afternoon. They're probably looking at this Copa del Rey campaign as a way to get some confidence back in their long-suffering team, to try and spark up a little bit of a revival to try and keep them in La Liga. And it's not the ideal time to play a team like this when they're trying to put together a recovery, because they're not going to give us an easy game. They're not going to take us for granted. They are desperate for a win of their own, and that could lead to a long old afternoon for us. But there is Joffrey playing the ball over the top to Kevin Carlos, who's got in behind here. Can he play it back into whoever that is? Martinez Perez was lurking. Rabiot was in the middle. I probably would have been inclined to cut it back to Martinez Perez, who had acres of space. A little bit disappointed to see we've only got 4,500 people in the stadium today. I think we were close to a sellout this time last year. Clearly, the novelty of playing bottom half La Liga teams doesn't extend long term to the good people of Benidorm, and we've not had quite so many turn up this time. It's still 4 times as many people as we normally get into the stadium. That was much better from Maggio, much better defensive work from him, and he's done very well again there. He's trying to prove me wrong. He's basically playing for a contract. If he can convince me that he's worth keeping around, it's just because I've set him for release now doesn't mean we can't offer him a new contract later on in the season if we decide to. We basically set him for release at this stage to trick Mrs. Wearmouth into letting me give Ivan Such a new contract. But now we've done that, we've still got some money left that we could potentially go back in and offer the likes of Maggio new contracts. We probably need to tie down Gonzalez and Martinez Perez first, who are much more important to the long term of the club and haven't yet got their next season contract sorted. Also, Ivan Mutt, the successor to Fakal on the right-hand side, doesn't yet have his contract set. In fact, here we're going to see Ivan Mutt come on because Fakal has picked up a knock. So Ivan comes on the right-hand side, and he's another one who doesn't yet have next year's deal sorted. So we've got a couple of priorities ahead of Maggio, but if he continues to play well, who knows? He might be one of those players that just forever defies his star rating, because the star rating, I think, has him down as a 2-star, 2.5-star player. There's certainly no way he should be anything other than a fringe player who kind of covers in all those positions he can play, which is exactly what we signed him to do. He was just supposed to be like 4th choice centre-back, 4th choice midfielder, backup defensive midfielder. And not only has he kind of established himself in a position, he has forced himself into the team as a regular starter in that position, pushing forward arguably our best player in recent years. So he's done all right, is what I'm getting at. 1-0 at half time means we're kind of doing all right as well. If we can escape without embarrassment from this game, that as far as I'm concerned is a big thumbs up. We don't want our confidence to take a blow, but at the same time we don't want extra games adding either. So as fun as it would be to beat Granada and potentially get a Real Madrid or a Barcelona in the next round or the round after or whenever they get added to the tournament, all that does is guarantees an absolute whooping. And apparently our fans aren't interested enough to come and watch the matches anyway. And also, it's not like the FA Cup in England. I think the smaller team is always the home team. So even if we did get a Barcelona, the best we can do financially is sell out our 9,000 capacity ground. We're not going to go and play in front of 90,000 people and get half of that gate receipt. So the incentive for a cup run from that side, not only is there much less prize money in the Copa del Rey than the FA Cup, but there's much less opportunity to make money off of the actual matches as well, which makes the whole tournament far less appealing than the FA Cup, which is a little bit of a shame. Right, we're making a couple of changes for just some tired legs. Ivan Lewis can come on for Kevin Carlos. We're moving Jeffrey out to left back. Joffrey and Christian Davey. I'm going to have to change his name to Jeffrey. The amount of times I've called him Jeffrey, he's just going to become Jeffrey at this rate, and there's not a lot he's going to be able to do about it. Romero making a good save from, in fact, I think that was our substitutions maxed out. I always forget. We're only allowed to make 3 changes in this tournament, so better hope I'm happy with the 3 that I've made there. Maggio is now tiring. Rabiot is tiring. There's nothing we can do about that now because we've made all of our substitutions. And there is the ball lumped forward in the direction of Ivan Lewis, but can't find him. And it's another corner for Granada, which Romero collects very comfortably. Dare we dream? I'm going to offer some encouragement because there's always a chance. When there's only 1 goal in it, there's always the opportunity for some silliness to happen. And if we can just get the ball to Lewis in the right area, we know he is capable of the spectacular. He could score a football goal if we can get the ball to him at the right end of the pitch, which, I mean, it is that in itself is a tough ask against much higher level opposition as we are facing today. We're used to facing the B teams of teams like this, not the A teams. And they just, they keep the ball. They have the ball for as long as they want. As you can see, we don't really get to decide when we get the ball back or if we get the ball back. They just keep it as long as they want and then get offside rather than scoring a goal because they're silly gooses. But there's no us choosing to get a tackle in. I mean, if you look at the match momentum, it has been all Granada, all match. I don't know how it's only 1-0. I think this goes a long way towards explaining why they're struggling so much in La Liga if they can dominate a game to this extent and not kill us off. I mean, it looks far more even on the XG and the shots than it actually has been. If you look at the possession, I think Granada have had more than 70% of the possession. So it's been very much a case of they just keep the ball for as long as they want. We don't win it back ever, but they just don't really have any end product. And they're going to try and add a second here. But in fact, Christian David clumsily clattering their player, giving away a penalty in the 90th minute, which will give them their second goal and their confirmation that they're through to the 3rd round. And hopefully, because we didn't have that collapse at any point, we can go away with our heads held high and not take too much of a confidence blow going back into the league, because we've got that big top of the table clash coming up very, very soon, and we don't want to be sad little bears for it. So fingers crossed. No sad bears here. Okay, we've had some madness. Several pieces of madness have happened, actually. Madness number 1 was us losing 4-3 against Linense in this game that we absolutely shouldn't have been losing, and losing because of this goal, which I don't even really want to remind myself existed, but we were 3-1 down. We dragged ourselves back into the game at 3-3 against a team with a -9 goal difference compared to our 38 goal difference, and lost to that 87th minute winner. So that hurt. But then off the back of that, we decided to fix our financial problems that we've been having. So we offered a few fringe players out that we didn't need anymore, our backup goalkeeper, our 4th choice centre-back, and we got the weirdest offer ever for our backup goalkeeper. Barcelona offered to take him on a free transfer. We managed to negotiate in a friendly. So the friendly against Barcelona will be taking place next episode, tomorrow. We're going to make about £50,000 by maxing out our attendance for that friendly. So there is going to be a game against Barcelona. You will see it in tomorrow's video. But that isn't even the weirdest thing about the transfer. The weirdest thing about the transfer is they're paying him £70,000 a week. And they've moved him straight into their B team. I mean, they originally... Actually, no, has he gone back up to the first team? He seems to be bouncing between the first team. No, he is in the B team now. So he's been moved straight down to their B team squad that he's not even registered for. He earns more than double what the next highest paid B team player is. I have absolutely no idea why a man who was earning £300 a week with us as our backup goalkeeper in the 4th tier, I don't know why Barcelona are paying him £70,000 a week. They must have activated another lever and have money falling out of their backside to just splurge around on a load. The only thing is he's a homegrown Spanish goalkeeper, but you got to believe there's a better one than that. This 3-year deal at £70,000 a week, this man will earn £11 million over the next 3 years to be unregistered for Barcelona's B team. He can then retire age 27, a multi-millionaire, having done nothing to earn it in his entire life. I don't understand. We also managed to get rid of Fran Tafala. He didn't fall on his feet quite so heavily, although to be fair, his salary has doubled. He was on about £180 a week with us, now earning £400 a week, has transferred to another team at our level. So maybe he was better than I thought it was. Hold the phone. If they'd given, I thought they'd given him the number 10 shirt there. That would have been absolutely disastrous. So those two are out. We have renewed a couple more contracts. So we've been able... Can I show you the contracts? There we go. So we've now renewed the contracts of Patrice Boyer, who has moved up to be our backup goalkeeper again. I don't know why that keeps disappearing off the screen. It never used to. So he's had a new contract. Ivan Mutt has had his contract extended. Martinez Perez has had his contract extended. Joffrey has had his contract extended. The players out of contract at the end of the season, there is now just 4. And I'm fairly comfortable with all 4 of them leaving. If we manage to bottle promotion again, certainly Maggio, Isra and David get new deals. Gonzalez is very expensive and hasn't really worked out. And is probably at the point where Javier Zafra, our backup, who's come through our own youth team, might be as good as Gonzalez at this point. We'll be competing them with each other over the course of the rest of the season. Don't be surprised if Zafra is our starting left back by the end of the season. So with all that going on, we are still top of the league, but only 5 points clear now, albeit with a game in hand over Malaga. And we play Zerez now at home. If we beat them, we open up a big gap over them, a 10-point gap over them with a victory. And it puts the gap over Malaga back out to 8 points again. So a win here and that 4-3 defeat kind of goes away. We don't need to worry about it so much anymore. So this is the team for a big important game. It's Romero in goal, a back 4 of Gonzalez, Joffrey, Such and Carrington, Boxall at the base of the midfield, Isra and Rabiu ahead of him, Martinez Perez on the left, Fakal on the right, Kevin Carlos up front. We just need to go out there and do a football. We need a win here. We've struggled in a lot of these, I want to call them televised matches. A lot of they're not televised. We've never had any TV money in game, but a lot of these matches in the YouTube videos lately, we are struggling with. It's very much one of those saves where if I was playing the in-betweeny bits in private in my pants, you'd all be questioning why I was winning all those games but losing all the ones on camera, and I'd be getting the Kez reloading nonsense down in the chat. What it actually boils down to is I'm showing you all the big games, so we're winning the majority of our in-betweeny games over on Twitch, where I will be live tonight, 7 p.m. If you fell off the Twitch stuff because we fell a little bit out of sequence towards the end of last week because I was away this weekend, we are back in sequence tonight on Twitch. What a goal from Rabiu. I'll continue the Twitch advert in a second. Rabiu is our best player. I know Kevin Carlos is good. Rabiu is better. And what a free kick this is from a long way out. Goal of the season right there, boys and girls. Stunning stuff. But as I was saying, we're back in sequence on Twitch tonight. What I mean by that is after this video, the stuff that's going to be on Twitch tonight will be the stuff that happens next after this video. The way it was always supposed to be, the highlights of that will be what's on the Lollujo 2 tomorrow morning, and then the Barcelona friendly, and then the next match in the league will be tomorrow's YouTube video. So it all falls back into sequence again, so you can continue mixing and matching between YouTube and Twitch again, whereas towards the end of last week, you kind of had to choose between the two. Taking the decisions away from you. You're welcome. Rabiu now with a corner finds Joffrey and it hits the top of the crossbar. It remains 1-0 as we cruise towards half time. Looking at those match stats, we have absolutely dominated this team that is supposedly the third best team in the league. They've not even had a shot. This is very much the response to some of our recent form that I was looking for. And now we've got another set piece opportunity through Rabiu again. Cross comes in, dealt with relatively comfortably, but Isra wins it back. Can he fire it back into the danger zone? He crosses it over to Martinez Perez, who would have been nice for him to celebrate his new contract with a goal. Alas, was not to be, but we are playing very, very well in this match. Malaga presumably lost their game earlier in the day, which is why they didn't close the gap on us, or why we've got the opportunity to extend the gap. It's all very confusing with all the various gaps that are going on. Kev Maths is always very challenging. I'd like, as a new feature for FM24, I'd like it to explain the permutations to me like I'm 5. From this early in the season, I don't want to have to figure stuff like that out for myself. I know it is there in the game at the moment, but it's hidden. You have to go clicky, clicky, clicky and find it. I want the little paperclip guy off of Microsoft Office in the 90s. I want him to pop up every time he hears that I'm struggling. So give it some kind of Siri always listening to me feature. And I want him to just pop up every time I'm struggling with maths and let me know what the permutations are. That's the kind of feature I could get behind. But we're 2-0 up. We're 8 points clear at the top of the league, 10 points clear of Zerez, and hopefully starting to give ourselves a fairly significant anti-bottle cushion is what I'm going to refer to it as. We're going to bring Zappa on for Gonzalez. That's going to be a 70th minute change forever until I decide what I'm doing in that position. Likewise, Ivan for Ivan on the right wing is a fairly regular one while I'm deciding what to do there. And we'll just give Alex Boxall a rest. I usually take off him or Rabiu or Carlos at this point, just to make sure our key players are kind of getting rotated through, getting periodic rests so that we don't push them too hard and risk breaking them. I mean, Rabiu and Carlos are both likely to come off here. Just, again, it's all about protecting the players. We've got Ivan Luis, who is on a lot of money and is a very good striker. And we've got Cucurella, who's a perfect replacement for Rabiu. So we've definitely weakened the team with all those substitutions. Our 3 best players have been taken off, but there's a number of good young players and Sai Maggio all coming on to try and prove their worth to the cause. I don't know what's gone on with Zerez here today. They have had 1 shot on target in the entire 90 minutes and just haven't even looked like they were trying. They edged possession as well. We've kind of just given him a little bit of a good old crash bang wallop there, which serves us very well. And fingers crossed, we can't crumble from here. Look how far clear we are. We're beyond halfway in the season now. The only thing that could cause us a problem at this point is if we do something stupid, like arrange a friendly that we're going to lose 18-0 for midway through the run-in that ruins our confidence, but gives us a little bit of money back in the bank. But nobody's dumb enough to do that, surely, in tomorrow's video. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.